But now, well, wherever George Galloway goes, controversy follows. But Labour rivals in his Bradford West seat seem to be in a mess of their own making. After Galloway unexpectedly thumped them in a 2012 by-election, Ed Milliband made predictable noises about rebuilding trust in what had previously been a rock-solid Labour seat. But instead, there's a bitter row raging over the selection of a candidate to challenge Galloway. Now, Newsnight's been told that some local Labour members plan to campaign for Galloway and that the continuing conflict could threaten Labour's hold on neighbouring constituencies. Laura's been trying to get to the bottom of things.
Bradford had Labour almost baked into its bricks. But shoved out 3 years ago, Ed Milliband swore he'd rebuild here, trying to move on from a brutal defeat in his own Yorkshire constituency backyard.
So in these streets, is there much sign of a revitalised, rebuilt Labour Party? Newsnight's been told what's happened here is a complete disaster that might kill off the party's chances not in 1 but 2 seats in this city in an election where 1 or 2 might make all the difference.
Maybe her face gave it away then. A fortnight ago, Amina Ali was chosen to fight Galloway.
You're not from Bradford. Is that going to be an impediment to your progress?
No, it's not. Because for me, it's all about having an MP that's visible.
Invisible, as it turns out. She decided moving from London was too much and quit in days. So Naz Shah was chosen, not voted for by members. Despite this friendly snap, negative material about her past is circulating. Labour wouldn't make her available to speak for herself, but insist she's a fantastic candidate and there's nothing wrong with the selection, even though she voted for Respect last time round.
We've been told after the party's decision, the local selection was absolutely fixed to choose the weakest candidate. Crazy as that seems, this close to the election. And Ed Milliband's office had been warned imposing its will could backfire.
There's local Labour fury at how they see the leadership behaved.
I resent that the people from outside interfering in politics of Bradford. People from Birmingham, people from London, people from elsewhere, they should not be interfering in politics of Bradford. The feeling out there is that the Labour Party wants to teach a Muslim community a lesson for voting for George Galloway.
Sources say Labour HQ broke a promise and only allowed women to run for the seat. That's denied, but there's no denying the process became a farce. A total mess. The fault lies entirely with the party, one insider said. George Galloway may come with a political circus, but it's an effective one. Labour will face on May the 7th in Bradford West. He's loved and loathed, but everyone knows who he is.
So what do you think of Mr Galloway?
We don't see him. I've got no time for the guy. He's just on his own agenda, isn't he?
You were a Labour voter before?
Definitely, yeah, I was. But I mean, as I said, over the years, Labour's obviously changed, and our generations we want something different for our particular area, someone to stand for our rights, and we feel George Galloway is that person for us.
Arshad Ali, who campaigned for Respect, believes Labour's lost it.
We're standing 100 yards in the shadow of the building where the Labour Party was conceived and came into existence. And this is, unfortunately, the city where the Labour Party has been most disgraced.
But who's in charge? Many staunchly argue the influence of the city's Pakistani clans is wildly overstated. But for some campaigners, the problem is precisely that Ed Milliband didn't dismantle their control.
What Ed Milliband needed to do was grasp the nettle, actually disband the membership, disband the local party and start afresh. He didn't do it, and therefore the shambles that we have right now is a result of weak leadership.
The ill will could threaten Labour votes right across the city. We might end up losing Bradford East and West, said one insider. If we're 2 down, when it's all over, then these will be the 2, said another.
They completely misunderstand, I believe. Ed Milliband only came once to Bradford, and it's taken 3 years to arrive to this stage where we are. And I think it's a completely wrong process the party has developed. A lot of members would not be going out actively campaigning for the Labour candidate. Most of the members would stay home.
We've even been told some Labour members will campaign for George Galloway. Others insist their core team can and will pull together, but concede Mr Galloway will rub his hands at what seems a self-inflicted wound. Despite Labour HQ's promises, one source told us they have no idea. They just don't understand how the politics works.
The Central Party says it's confident of a strong campaign. After all, it's in Bradford Ed Milliband vowed to win back trust. But along with Labour candidates, that seems hard to find. Right now, no party can afford a local difficulty to leave them nationally falling short.
Laura Kunsberg in Bradford.